So a little bit about myself, like I was saying, my name is Jenna. I'm from CHI. I work mainly inpatient and outpatient services. So if you were told by your doctor, hey, we gotta watch your cholesterol, we gotta watch, you're starting to get that borderline diabetic, you get to come see me for a little bit and get to know me one-on-one. Sometimes, hopefully not, you might see me in the hospital if you're not feeling the best, and so I do take care of people there as well. But my fun part of my job is actually doing right now, and that is when I have my free time, I get to do classes for the community, and so I'm pretty well known at Pierce Foods. For about 1.5 to 2 years. We were doing cooking demonstrations about every month or so in the fall. Do you know where? Okay. If you were at that one at all, if you saw flyers, hello. Yes, it was a lot of fun. I always love to try new recipes out, and you guys are always my guinea pigs. So, but I am actually from St. Cloud South Side, about St. Augusta, right by 94 there. I grew up on a dairy farm, so I always tell that to people because they're like, okay, she's young, she's new, she brings in these weird recipes that she has no clue where we're from. Nope. I was born and raised on a dairy farm. My dad is a true Stearns County gentleman where he only eats meat, potatoes, and his vegetables, corn. We grew a lot of sweet corn that put me through college. And I peeled a lot of potatoes growing up. That's actually where my love of food came from, was when my parents were out doing milking. I have 2 younger sisters. My dad got lucky, had no boys. 3 girls, yes, for a dairy farm. He didn't think we could keep up with boys. Boy, did we prove him wrong. I started farming, helping out when I was about 8 years old. I always have a joke where my elbows aren't straight because I was carrying too many 5-gallon pails around. But then eventually my mom was still outside, and we'd come home, or we'd get in from the barn late, and dinner wouldn't be made. And so I actually started to prepare whatever I could in the cabinet or the pantry. I'd just grab 5 ingredients, throw it together, and make some kind of a hot dish or a goulash or some kind of a casserole. It worked out. There's 2 of them that are still our staples in our family, and I don't know how that happened, but that's probably my favorite, is just taking whatever you have in the pantry and making it into food, because that's really where it starts off from, and then you start to polish it. But anyway, so kind of getting into what am I going to ramble or talk about today. When Kristen asked me to do a presentation, she told me the population. I said, perfect, this is great, this is right up my alley, sort of. Because both my parents were starting to move off the farm, they got to defend from themselves in a sense. And their health started to catch up to them. My mom has high blood pressure. She also has sleep apnea. Her doctor tells her she is obese based off her BMI. I don't like BMI, just a forewarning there. But really, your health does impact just your quality of life, but really your food comes down to it, because that impacts your health, but also your quality of life. And so rather than me saying, hey, go eat some cardboard and do that for the rest of your life, you're not going to do that. And if I told you you never get to have ice cream again, I would cry myself, because ice cream and peanut butter are my 2 staples in my life. Add them together, whole other world. But we're going to really focus on the 3 main ones. And when I see a lot of people come in the clinic or the hospital, we're always looking at sodium for one thing. You don't have to raise your hand, but if you have high blood pressure, your doctor may or may not have told you, hey, watch your sodium intake, watch your salt intake. Because really, why does that impact us? Well, it raises blood pressure. We start to go into heart failure. We have high blood pressure. We start to get edema. And if you know what that is, it's that fluid buildup either in your hands sometimes, your legs, where you can kind of push it. And it's not like the Doughboy from Pillsbury Doughboy, where it comes back, it actually stays. That's a bad sign. So we really want to watch that sodium to prevent that. The next one is going to be your carbohydrates. So again, you don't have to raise your hand, but if you're a diabetic, you are hounded on your carbs. Always, by the public, by your family, by yourself, by your doctor. It doesn't really matter. And right now, carbohydrates have a really bad rep on them. A lot of people, when they, hey, I want to work on weight management, I've been cutting out all my carbs, I'm going keto. I'm like, okay, let's work with this, because you're not going to eat any fruit again. That's pretty sad, because, I mean, that's a good sweet tooth. If you're going to cut out all your grains, you're cutting out all your breads and your pasta. A lot of those are staples for people. Those are easy foods to make. But then you're also cutting out your dairy. Even though I grew up on a dairy farm, I really don't like milk. The reason why, before you get, okay, you're supposed to drink milk, yes. I like cheese better. I like other ways to get my calcium in. And the reason why I don't like milk is if any farmers are out there and they did tie stall or any kind of milking at all, and you get warm milk sprayed in your face one too many times, and you swallow that warm milk, Yeah, if you haven't had that experience, count yourself lucky. Okay, just saying it there. The last one that a lot of people actually forget about as we get older is protein. If you think about it, protein is the building blocks for muscle growth as well as just maintaining your muscle. So if you have anything like COPD, where it's harder for you to breathe, protein does come in handy because that actually keeps your lungs functioning. Your lungs are a muscle, and if you're not taking care of yourself with your protein, or you're filling up on all filler foods, which I'll come back to, your protein stores go down. Or let's say you're on the opposite. Let's say your kidneys aren't functioning properly and your doctor said, hey, we got to watch that protein. And that's just because your kidneys filter through a lot of those nutrients that protein gets broken down into, mainly nitrogen, okay? So it kind of depends. And so everyone has a different story. It's kind of like a library. Everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own thing that they have to follow. Now, as we get older again, it might just be yourself at home, or it might be you and your significant other, or hey, you might be living with a group of girls, and that'd be great because it'd be like college all over again, right? But you don't have any boundaries, no homework. Whatever your story is, it's hard to take into two different people because we're just talking about health. Now we have to talk about preferences. We have to talk about what our likes and dislikes are. We have to talk about budget. We have to talk about time. Maybe you're a snowbird where you leave for the winter, hence you guys are not because you're still here with me. And no one's ran out the doors yet because I can have both visuals on the doors, so we're good here. So there's a lot of things that kind of come into, okay, what are we actually looking for when it comes to meal prepping? We can't forget one and just look at the other, okay? Also, I'm very informal, so if you have questions, go ahead, stop me anytime, okay? So as of 2020, Happy New Year, we have to follow, or we actually get these new labels on food ingredients. And I wanted to touch base on this because when I say, hey, are you familiar with food labels? I get either the deer in the headlights look or the kind of the nod, yep, okay, I'm good. But really we don't understand it. So the government went ahead and made it a little bit more simpler, or simplified, I should say. And if you look at it, on the left side, you have what is kind of the current label or the past label. And so if you look at it, there's a lot of information there. There's numbers. It's basically like a math equation, calculus times 4. But if you look at the new label, it's a little bit more larger print, especially for those calories. But they took a lot of that information and they kind of said, hey, this is just the general what you need to know. Okay, so we're going to talk about that for a little bit here. So when you look at a nutrition label, the first thing you should do is look at the serving size, okay? And the reason why is because a lot of people are like, hey, there's 230 calories in this package. Perfect. I'm going to eat the whole thing of ice cream, right? If there's only 230 calories in the whole container, right? No. And so I wish, but no. So what actually happens is what they've changed about it is they try to make it the most average portion size American will choose from. I do not know what this product is. I apologize there, so before you ask me that. But I can tell you it's not the greatest, and I'll explain why later. So the portion is 2/3 cup, okay? So let's say it's rice, for example. We're just using that for an example. The general portion size for a thing of rice is 1/3 cup. And the reason why I usually say that is because that is about 15 grams of carb or 1 serving of grain, okay? Now, you don't have to memorize that. That's just my brain. But no one's going to eat just 1/3 of a cup, okay? Just like ice cream, the serving size of ice cream is 1/2 cup. Does anyone stop at just 1 scoop? No, because we're not even talking about the toppings yet because, again, peanut butter and ice cream. But, so that's what they decided is, okay, a bottle of pop, okay? The one that you get in the gas station or convenience store, they had it in portions. It wasn't the whole container, but you're not going to stop at just 1/3 of that pop, right? No, you're going to drink the whole thing. And so rather than saying, hey, look at this, do the multiplication, it's no, okay, here's all of the ingredients in this one container, this single serving here. Same goes with the bag of chips. If you got the one from the vending machine, okay, this is all. It's not saying this is a serving you should stick to because no one's going to have a snack size of chips and eat half the bag and let the other half sit for a while. They're going to go stale. So it's showing, hey, if you eat the whole bag of chips, this is what you're going to get. Okay, so that is one thing I do like about the new labels, okay? The next change is the total fat percentage from calories is not on there. And the reason why is people will look at the calories, they look at the fat, they're like, ooh, this has a lot of calories coming from the fat, I gotta put this back. What they want you to do instead is look at the type of fat, and that's really key, okay? You guys lived through the generation where fat-free was the greatest thing ever, right? Okay. Really, you do need fat. You need the right type of fat, though, okay? And that's because the right type of fat, got me already, is going to help your heart, but it's also going to help with your brain, and your brain needs that fat tissue. So if you have a family history of dementia or Alzheimer's, fat's your best friend, because if you go low fat, no fat, you're actually increasing your chances of developing one of those two diseases because you're not getting that cushion, okay? So it's not saying one's greater than the other, it's that balance, and that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? However, when it comes to the types of fat, okay, you have saturated fat, which you always hear about, okay? Again, that's going to be from your animal sources, so that would be like your meats, your beef, pork, chicken, turkey, egg, as well as cheese. But a lot of the times, that saturated fat is hidden in a lot of processed foods, and that's the one we forget to look at. Did anybody know there's a lot of saturated fat in a cup of ice cream? No. If we looked at that whole container, it'd be kind of eye-shocking, and that right there, plus the added sugar, is a no-no. But again, portion size, frequency. Again, I like to call myself the realist dietitian because, again, you're never going to not eat ice cream again. Or if you're a pizza hound, you're never going to not eat pizza. But it's really, do I need 4 slices of pizza, or can I get by with 1 or 2 with a side of vegetables? All right? So besides that, they did list 2 of them. They're keeping those 2 on, and the one is trans fat as well as the saturated fat. Trans fat now is the no-no of all no-nos. I don't compromise on that one at all. And that is a man-made fat. Now, all products have to be trans fat free, but they still have to list as 0. And the reason why is because anything that is 1 gram or less on a serving can be considered trans fat free. Now, I'm not going to go too far into these, but my best advice is look at the nutrition ingredients. If there's anything named hydrogenated so-and-so, hydrogenated oil, hydrogenated soybean oil, soybean is great, but it's hydrogenated, which means it is man-made. There's some kind of a chemical makeup that changed it, and that is a trans fat secret, okay? It's not saying there's a significant amount in it to label it, but there's still some in there, and that starts to add up when you have larger portions than you think, okay? Because that one portion might have 0.5 grams, but if you had 3 portions of it, okay, you're at 1.5 grams of trans fat, okay? That's a lot, okay? So that's what you want to look at. The next big change that they did was the total carbohydrates. So carbs, again, I told you have a bad rep. I always say carbs are great. I mean, they're their main source of energy, okay? But it's the type of carb. So, of course, I have to bring my fake food here. So these both are carbohydrates, okay? You got an orange, you got orange juice. Now, if you are a diabetic, you know 4 ounces of orange juice is 1 carb choice, or 15 grams of carb, whereas a whole orange is the same amount. So you get the same amount of carbohydrate in here. Now, if I told you for breakfast, all you get is either 4 ounces of juice or a full orange, which one are you going to choose? The orange is more satisfying, plus it's going to keep you fuller, quicker, and longer, okay? This thing is going to give you a huge, basically a sugar high. It's going to go straight up, straight down. You're going to be starving in about an hour and a half, okay? These are called simple carbs. They're quick, they're simple, they're fast, they're convenient, okay? The big thing is that they're not holding that fiber. Now, this bad boy is called a complex carb, okay? This one has the fiber, has all the bells and whistles. This is your brand new car. This is your car with no brakes, okay? Big difference, right? Especially if you're going down a hill. This one's you're not gonna go stopping, you're gonna go straight through that brick wall. This one is gonna help prevent and coast and then brake and basically save your life. Not that dramatic, but in car sense it is. So really it comes down to the type of carbs. So when you look at that nutrition label, look to see that fiber component, okay? See if there's a good source of fiber or not. See how many added grams of sugar there is. And that's that new thing they added, is how much added sugar is in that product. And what I mean by added sugar, that could be honey, that could be granulated sugar, it could be powdered sugar, it could be really anything it wants to be, okay? It's added sugar, it's not natural. So what I mean by natural is fruit. So a lot of those people who are like, hey, I can't do fruits, there's a lot of sugar in it. Yes, there's sugar in it, but it's that natural sugar. And you still get the antioxidants, you still get the benefits from that fruit, but we gotta look at that portion. That's your main concern. It's not saying get rid of it completely, okay? It's saying, hey, let's take a look. Rather than going chocolate all the time, can I get by with some strawberries and chocolate? That way I'm not eating as much chocolate, okay? Questions with that one at all? No? Okay. The next thing is at the very bottom. So they updated what most Americans are deficient in, and I agree with all of them, but one should be listed, and that one is vitamin D. And the reason why I say that is it's important to get your vitamin D. If you are not on a vitamin D supplement right now, I highly suggest going to the nearest pharmacy that you guys go, or wherever you get your vitamins, and purchase a vitamin D supplement. And I say that for all Americans, whether it's in the middle of winter or in the summer, and that's because in the winter we hardly get the sun rays coming, but also, if you notice, I'm wearing long sleeves plus plus a scarf and a collar. I'm hardly having any kind of skin exposure. I wear gloves, I wear mittens, I go outside, I have hardly anything but my face showing. I'm not going to get a lot of sun rays there, okay? In the summertime, I work all day during the day when the sun's out, and I only get about an hour or so when the sun's not, and it's not even at its highest peak when the sun's not set, okay? I'm not going to get a lot of vitamin D there. Now, the reason why I don't like them listing vitamin D on a food product is because it's very, very hard for your body to absorb the vitamin D from food, okay, versus their supplement. And every American needs that vitamin D supplement because that helps your bone health. You can be eating as much calcium as you want, but if you don't have that vitamin D, that calcium is going nowhere, okay? It's going to go straight through you because your body can't absorb it, okay? But I do like how they list the potassium. So again, if you're watching your kidney health, you're going to know, hey, potassium is an important number. But if you're also watching for blood pressure, okay, you want decreased sodium or salt, but you want more potassium. And the reason why it's kind of a lock and key. To get the sodium out, I need potassium to come in, and that keeps that balance. So I do like that one. The other ones are still going to be calcium and iron, and those ones are always commonly deficiencies, especially in the older population, or I should say the younger population here as we get older, because really we're not focused too much on calcium, but that's our bone health again. So if you have osteoporosis, you say, hey, increase your calcium. Okay, well, I need to know how much calcium I'm getting, and again, I don't like milk, but where am I also going to get the calcium? Okay. The other one is iron. A lot of people, as we get older, your teeth don't work the best, the swallowing, whatever it is, you might not even like meat. Okay, you might be a vegetarian or a vegan. Okay, so where are you getting your iron sources? Are you getting it from plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, pulses like that, or am I not getting any of it? And so iron is very common because if you don't have enough iron, your levels of energy are going to go down. Yeah. The gentleman in the back had mentioned that he was told to be cautious of multivitamins with his medications. Medications and vitamins, as well as herbal supplements, if you're on those, do play effect on your body, but also on how your meds work. And so before you start taking anything, vitamin D you're okay with. I will tell you that, okay? But let's say you're on a blood thinner, okay, warfarin or Coumadin, okay? And I said, hey, go crazy with your vitamin K. You can't do that, and sometimes that vitamin K might be in a multivitamin. Now, vitamin K does the opposite of Coumadin, okay? Or it could be enhancing it. And so then your blood levels are completely off. And so if a multivitamin, talk with your doctor. So when they ask, hey, are you taking anything? A multivitamin does count, okay? Hey, are you taking anything? Okay, a B complex B vitamin, it counts because a lot of those, if you get too much of something, could cause something else to not work properly, okay? Good point there. All right, so I'm going to keep moving on, okay? So we kind of talked about those three, and so we're going to focus on a little bit here on sodium. And so you see sodium, and it occurs naturally in lots of foods, okay? So you're not going to be like, hey, I can't eat this, it's got sodium in it. That's the okay sodium, okay? It's when we start adding sodium to it. So anything canned, any kind of a gravy, any kind of a sauce, those have the added salt to it. The salt shaker is added salt. Anything frozen, prepackaged, most of it has that added salt. You'd be surprised when I hear people say, well, I don't do a lot of salt. I actually just had one person come to see me, and we're working on her blood pressure, and she's like, well, I go through a salt shaker every 2 to 3 weeks by herself. I'm like, oh, wait, okay, we got to work on something here. I hear every kind of a spectrum, so nothing really shocks me anymore, but I just wanted to use that to shock you guys. I see some faces here, so it's kind of fun. But why do we want to avoid it? Again, that blood pressure rises because sodium pulls in water. Okay, it might not be in your feet, it might not be in your legs, your hands, but it pulls water into your bloodstream, and that's pumping and it's pushing against your blood vessels and your heart, and it's making your heart work harder. Okay, If you think about it, your heart is a muscle. If I keep working it, eventually it's going to get fatigued and slowed down, and that's where you get that heart failure going. Okay, so that's why we want to say, hey, if I got high blood pressure, yes, weight loss is number one, but also looking at my sodium intake too. Okay, any questions with that one? All right. So top sources, like we talked about, frozen entrees is a big one. Anybody do TV dinners here? Okay, thank you for your honesty. That's one thing I actually really do like looking at. And because, again, I'm from St. Cloud, I drive here every single day in the morning. I have certain foods I gotta grab, but because I might not forget to pack my lunch, I run over to Coburn's in Little Falls there. And I found something actually really fun. And that is a healthy choice here. Anybody see these yet? No? TV dinners were really popular. I don't even know the date, back in, I want to say maybe even the 1970s, but don't quote me on that one. But they get a bad rep because either they're high carb, very simple carbs, like the white pasta, the white breads, the rice, because those are really cheap foods that they can make a bunch of these and then sell them for a higher price. It's just a whole market thing. But a lot of the drive of health has been coming with either the sodium or the carb or the protein, which we're all talking about here. But I really like this one, and I found it. It is actually, it's called a Power Bowl. Ooh, right there is the wording in it. But this one actually only has about 600 milligrams of sodium. And you're going to see at the very bottom, I say aim to about 600 to 700 milligrams of sodium per meal. And the reason why I say per meal is because if I do that, by the end of the day, I'm going to be within the Heart Association recommendations. Okay? I don't want to wait until the very end of the day at dinner time or supper time and have all of my sodium there, because then what happens? I get sodium overload. Okay? I really pull in the water. So think about this. When you go out to eat, whether it be Perkins, whether it be a steakhouse, whether it be a pasta place, I used to be a waitress at Olive Garden, and I remember bringing that home when I was in college for my meal. Well, those sauces have a lot of sodium in it, okay? And if you ever eat too much, or you have your whole dinner there, or your entree at a restaurant, and all of a sudden you just feel that Thanksgiving fullness, okay? Yes, you probably ate too much, but also that water is starting to pull in. You're really thirsty. You probably ate or drank 2-3 glasses of water. Well, now you have like a food baby going on there. A lot of it's water because of that sodium content, okay? So that's why I say 600 to 700 is your goal, okay? So these are nice TV dinners if you really come to a crunch, but we'll come back to this one, all right? So of course I had to do a sample menu. So I was trying to think, okay, what's the most common foods I hear a lot of people eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And for breakfast, as you see here, we're focusing on the sodium first. So it's about 463 milligrams of sodium, and this is just using the CalorieKing.com. If you don't know what that is, it just shows you what's the nutritional value of foods based off portions. So you see 2 slices of white toast with 2 tablespoons of salted butter. If you think you don't do a lot of salt, look at your butter. Okay, a lot of people forget that. It goes up dramatically. All right, 1 teaspoon of raspberry jelly, and then 8 ounces of orange juice. Okay, as you see for lunch, we're doing a deli ham cheese sandwich with mayo on white toast, okay, and a can of vegetable soup. Now, if you look at it, I don't know if you can see, I try to make it large enough. 1 can of that vegetable canned soup has over 1,000 milligrams of sodium alone. The 3 slices of deli ham has over 1,000 milligrams of sodium alone. So if you think you're doing great by a ham sandwich, not necessarily, especially with the deli, okay? Then if I look at dinner, we're still over 1,000. So you can imagine what our total looks like for that day, okay? But again, that's coming from that green bean casserole just because it's a higher content. And if a lot of people are like, hey, Jenna, I do a lot of scratch cooking. I'm thinking I'm pretty good. I'm pretty set. You can be very good, but if you're doing a lot of canned soups, so that's what we're going to kind of test later on today, but if you're doing canned soups, in 1 can alone of cream of mushroom soup, you gotta remember this exact number. I know it's over 1,000, but we're looking at 1,995 milligrams of sodium in 1 can, okay? I don't know about you guys, but when I was making my green bean casserole or whatever you want to call it, I'm stirring, so we have a weird terminology, but we use about 2 to 3 cans of that alone, okay? And that's not including the canned green beans that have the sodium in there too. So that dish is supposed to be our vegetable, all right? It's more a side of a sodium versus anything else, okay? So we'll talk about that. So yes, you're scratch cooking, but you also have to look at what ingredients am I adding to something, okay? You could be making a wonderful stir fry, bunch of vegetables, and a little bit of rice, and a great protein. It's lean, it's chicken. You gotta look at that sauce, because teriyaki sauce, soy sauce, all those are huge in their sodium, okay? So then carbohydrates, we talked about that complex carb. I won't beat a dead horse here, I won't tell you it all again, but a lot of the times the simple carbs are coming from the sweetened beverages. So if you're sipping on one can of pop all day long, try to drink it all at once. I don't condone pop. Again, my dad hated, I always use my dad as a guinea pig. I don't know why. But my dad actually hated coffee, and we never grew up on coffee. So he used Mountain Dew in the fields. I hate Mountain Dew now because he would go through liters and liters of Mountain Dew. Both my parents worked full-time off the farm as well as farming, so he was constantly going, and he lived off of Mountain Dew, and now he just has a craving for it, and it drives me nuts. I ramble. But anyway, so that's where you're getting a lot of those sweetened beverages as well as the lemonade, okay? You're getting it from the flour products. So if you're doing muffins, if you're doing donuts, pastries, waffles, pancakes, all those are usually higher at breakfast time. That's where your carbs are coming from, okay? Sweets, we all have a sweet tooth, even if you say you don't. We're looking at candies. That could be sugar candies, that could be chocolate candies, that could be your ice cream, whatever your little temptation, but also snacky foods. So some people are like, I don't really have much of an appetite. I just like to snack on crackers all day long. Well, there's not a lot of nutritional value in crackers. Actually, there's no protein hardly ever. There's no fiber. It's a simple carb with sodium. I will tell you that right now. I might be your best friend, but I'm going to also tell you how it is. So looking at that sample menu again, so if I were to do the exact same menu, okay, that I just had with that sodium, and I look at the carbs now, breakfast has 69 grams of carb, okay, usually I like to say stick about 45. Lunch is 57 grams, and dinner is 54. It's not too bad, but still high, okay? And then mainly the protein. So what I want to do, just because I don't want to run out of time here, is looking more so at the complete proteins. And what I mean by complete proteins, I mean quality proteins. So that is going to be your whole non-processed kinds of proteins. So again, beef, pork, chicken, turkey. Mainly anything that's not going to be your sausage, your pepperoni, your bologna, your summer sausage, your basically something that you can get from Phelan Meats, for example. Great options. But when you start to process it, even though they do sell some sausages or summer sausage, you start to add in the sodium, you start to add in more of the fat for the flavor, okay? You're missing out on the quality of that protein, okay? So then looking at that sample menu, breakfast is usually the lowest in protein, and it's the highest in carbs and sodium, and that's because of just breakfast foods. I love breakfast foods. If I could eat breakfast 3 meals a day, I'd be set for life. I actually have oatmeal all the time for lunch at work because it's easy, and I just love oatmeal. But you're going to see a lot of people are like, well, eggs are really bad for cholesterol. It's kind of like that catch-22. Yes, they're bad, but at the same time, I really don't look at cholesterol in food, and that's because there's really not evidence that supports to look at cholesterol that impacts your total cholesterol. What impacts your total cholesterol is going to be your added sugars, your saturated fat, and your activity. How active are you? Okay? Those three have more impact on your total cholesterol than cholesterol in food. If you take anything away from that for that section, please remember that one, okay? So, what I did instead is, okay, you're rambling up here, Jenna, what can we actually do about this? How can I improve this? And my goal for you guys to think about is how can I switch my breakfast, my lunch, or my dinner by one food item, by one ingredient to improve my health, okay? That's my takeaway message from today. And so what I did here with the breakfast options is, rather than doing the toast, which you could do still if you make it multi-grain, okay? But really, okay, oatmeal, that's very simple. And people are like, well, I do a lot of brown sugar. Have you ever tried peanut butter and jam? I told you I love peanut butter. It's like a PB&J. It's the best thing in the world. It's better than the PB&J itself because if you, and I'll let, okay, imagine, close your eyes with me here, okay? Some of you will, some of you won't, but if you were to heat up peanut butter, it becomes nice and runny and soupy kind of a thing. It coats your oatmeal very nicely. Then you add on that jelly with a cold, so you get a hot, cold texture. You get the creaminess from that peanut butter with that good health fat, okay? And then you get the oatmeal with the complex carb and fiber. That's going to keep you full all afternoon, where you're not going to need snacks. Yes?
There again, 1/3 cup oatmeal, is that prepared?
That'd be dry, but then it measures out. So I would say,
It measures out more.
yeah, it measures out more. I'd say dry. It's 1/3 dry. And the reason why I say that is you easily can make oatmeal in the microwave if you didn't know that or you haven't done that before. A little bit of splash of water, you're good to go, okay? Some people like it on the stovetop. Some people like it in the microwave. I don't have a stove at work, so I use it in the microwave, okay? It kind of depends on what you're going for, but that's a great option to do for anything. Option number 2, I did do the whole grain toast, but rather than doing butter, which you could still do butter, make it unsalted, okay, throw in some peanut butter. If you're a diabetic and you're doing toast in the morning, that's fine, but if you're doing butter, adding a protein or a fat like that will help bring those blood sugars and level them off. Okay, so if you're like, hey, I'm high in the morning all the time. My boyfriend's a type 1 diabetic, so I'm always looking at his blood sugars. He loves it. He loves it. But it's really looking, okay, how do I control those blood sugars in the morning? Because that's usually when most people run high, okay? For lunch, we did rotisserie chicken. If you haven't tried that before, that's great. I don't have to cook chicken. I can just shred it, and I'm good to go for the whole week in various different ways, and we'll talk about that here too. But we can also make a steamed vegetables on the side instead, or we could do a homemade chicken vegetable soup, and I actually have that for you today to try later on, okay? So any questions on those 2 examples of just how to just tweak little things here? It's not saying you have to change your whole menu. I'm not trying to recreate the wheel here. That's too much work for me on a Wednesday afternoon, but it's just taking one ingredient and switching it around, okay? So what are we looking for? Quality, whole, nutrient dense, all right? So, you like my picture? I found this when I started laughing. So again, you might just be riding solo here. You might have your better half or your challenging half. Kind of depends on the day, I know. But really, it doesn't come down to what do I like, okay? It's what do we like? What is that compromise? You know, as well as anybody in a relationship, you have to compromise. What do we both like? Or, hey, can I make this for myself but this for the other? Or if you're living with any other roommates, how do I pull this all together for it's not making 4 different meals like we're at a restaurant, okay? It's taking everything into account here, okay? And then you also have to look at, okay, what does my day look like? I can't be doing breakfast if I'm going to be out and about all day long or lunch. I get a lot of people telling me that when you retire, you get older, you're actually more busier than when you're working. Is that true? I hear that all the time where I don't have time anymore. And it's like, okay, I understand that you're living life. You have errands to run. Maybe you're watching grandkids for the kids. Whatever it may be, you do have to take into account what is my schedule for the week. Am I going out of town? Am I ever home for lunch or breakfast? Or do I know we have, is there any red hat ladies here? I hope I'm saying that right. Or you have men's groups where you're going out for coffee or you're going out for a donut. Whatever it is, you can make all of it work. Okay, again, that's where it comes into being a realist. You're not going to be living at home like a hermit crab or anything like that. Or maybe you are, maybe you love it. Who knows? But we're going to break it down now here. Okay, so breakfast. You're going to see on that one handout I handed to you, if you open it up onto that second page, there are 3 recipes there. Those are my go-to 3 recipes for breakfast. Yes, oatmeal is probably one of them. But you also get chia pudding. Anybody like tapioca pudding here? Wonderful. I hate it. I don't know how you guys can do the texture. No, I'm a texture person. But I'm glad you're here because you're in store. So chia seeds, you know the chia pet, the growing little animal thing you put some water on? You can actually use those seeds as a way to get more fiber in your diet, especially in the morning. You do them? Thank you. You can put them in your tapioca, but you can also put them in your yogurt if you love yogurt. If you're doing almond milk, if you do a little bit of almond milk, a little bit of chia seeds, mix it together, it turns into a tapioca pudding kind of texture style overnight. It's like magic. If you got grandkids, try it. They're going to be so, I don't know, it's amazing how kids, when they start playing with food, how much they open up, especially if they're picky eaters. But the chia pudding is a way to get fiber in. It actually keeps you full. Kristen, were you there for it? Thank you. I'm glad you were at that one. So if you're not familiar with chia pudding, I got Kristen as a non-believer because I gave her the same spiel at that class in Peers, and I got so many people come, hey, it keeps me full. It's crazy how that keeps me full. I do not need a snack at 10 o'clock. It is pretty crazy. If you're not familiar, I do have the chia seeds, but they're not swell. So chia seeds start off small. They're like little bitty, like almost like poppy seeds in a sense, okay? If you add it to a liquid, they swell up probably twice the size, so not very large, okay? They're a soluble fiber. And so if I were to have, say, I don't like tapioca pudding, I add them straight to my yogurt, mix it together, and I eat it right away. They just swell up in my stomach. It's the same thing. Helps keep me full, keeps me regular, all that great jazz. If I like tapioca pudding now and I like that texture, I can let it swell up outside. Then I eat it, still does the same thing, full and regular, okay? Now you're like, okay, chia seed, that's way out of my realm. That's too crazy for me. Flaxseed is another great one. So flaxseed's very similar. It just doesn't swell up, okay? But it's another great way to get fiber in. Again, oatmeal, I'm a freak with it. I add chia seeds and flax seeds to my oatmeal. It's like triple fiber going on. Very filling, but it's a great way. So going back to the slide here, you see commonly traded fiber for sodium, okay? The reason why I keep condoning fiber is because no one really likes fiber foods. It's vegetables, and if anybody has issues with chewing here, or if you just don't like raw vegetables, usually steamed vegetables are your go-to, okay? But you're not gonna eat vegetables for breakfast, no matter how hard I try, unless there's gonna be an omelet, which is great. But chia seeds and flaxseed are the two go-tos, or fruit, or oatmeal, or whole grains. But most people don't like to have those. Most people like pancakes, muffins, bagels, okay? Bagels are like my Pop-Tarts. They're like my no-goes. I don't like bagels. They're very dense. There's hardly any nutritional value to it. It's just gonna keep you full and making you feel sluggish, okay? The other one is protein. Again, using that menu before, protein is probably one of the lesser ones unless it's sausage, which is high in sodium and fat, saturated fat specifically, or your eggs. Okay, so it's hard to get that protein in the morning unless you're doing the yogurt or unless you're doing a glass of milk or even a cheese stick. Okay? Questions with breakfast at all? No? Huh?
What's in that picture?
Oh, thank you. So, that goes in my next one. So you're going to see 3 pictures here. You see the oatmeal. Chia seed pudding is the far right one. If you're not familiar with it, get familiar with it. It's a life changer, I guarantee you. But that middle picture actually, so again, I have very limited time in the morning. If I want scrambled eggs in the morning, which sometimes I do, I am not going to get a pot out. I'm not going to dirty a bunch of dishes. What I'm going to do instead is I take a mason jar, I crack 2 eggs, whip it up, I throw in the microwave for 2 minutes. They come out nice, light, and fluffy. Anybody try that before? Yeah, thank you. It's very simple. You're like, okay, that's crazy, Jenna. Well, if you're either living alone or you're the only person wanting eggs, you're not going to dirty all these dishes. Plus, if I could just do it as simple as that with 2 minutes, I can keep going on with my morning, okay? Throw in some vegetables, so that one also has some peppers in it too, or onions, okay? You can throw in spinach if you want to get really creative. All of it works in the microwave, and then when it comes out in 2 minutes, your meal's done. You can either have just the eggs with some salsa or whatever you do on top, or you can throw it into a tortilla shell, and you're good out the door like I am in the morning. Yes?
When I bake, whether it's out of a box or from scratch, I always throw oatmeal in.
Yeah?
I always add it to the recipe.
Oh, there we go. You want to come up here? You can do my job. I'll listen to you talk. No, I like that. I like it, and that's exactly it. Is what can I just do to enhance my meal? If it's just something as simple as oatmeal, that's easy to do, okay? I can throw it in with so many different types of foods, okay? Mine like that is actually the chia and flaxseed. You can do it on top of salads. You can do it on top of your hot dishes, on top of your spaghetti. You just mix it right in. You won't even know a difference. You won't even know it's there. And that's the kind of a lot of people do like, okay? It's how do I make my meal more nutritional value, okay? Yeah, go ahead.
Does that add calories?
It does add calories. So the thing is, too, is if you add that, let's say spaghetti, okay? A lot of people have a whole plate of spaghetti, okay? One of those mammoth plates, too, right? A little bit too much pasta going on there. So if I were to cut that down, and let's say I just have a side of green beans to go with it, and I just add those chia seeds on top, or even the flaxseed, I'm getting calories, but I'm not getting as many calories as I would have ate because I'm not having second plate. I'm not having a full plate of pasta. But the nice thing about those chia seeds and flax seeds is that they're actually high in omega-3, okay? Is anybody on a fish oil supplement here? No? I'm surprised, actually. So that usually helps. If you're having issues with blood pressure, Flaxseed, I would say recommend 2 tablespoons a day. Okay, that has been proven to actually help lower blood pressure, and the reason why is fiber, but also that omega-3. So omega-3 is an anti-inflammatory kind of fat, so it helps lower the inflammation, all right? And if you have heart failure or any kind of a heart issue or diabetes, or if you're overweight according to the doctor's BMI scale, anything with the anti-inflammatory is going to help because you have that chronic inflammation. If you have arthritis, that helps, okay? Yes?
Can you buy flaxseed without it being ground?
Good question on that one. You actually want it to be ground. And the reason why is, so it's called ground or milled. And the reason why is your body is not able to break down that seed and actually absorb the nutrients. So you actually do want it milled. You don't want it whole flaxseed, okay? Unless you're going to mill it yourself. Chia seeds can be whole. Chia seeds, you want them to be whole, okay? But you want milled flaxseed, okay? You can buy them, but I would not suggest buying it unless you're going to ground it yourself. Yep. Yes?
Do chia seeds affect medications like blood thinners?
They shouldn't affect the blood thinners because really the blood thinners is what you're looking at is going to be either, sometimes you hear about grapefruit, try not to do grapefruit, but also it's going to be that vitamin K, and that's usually not in the chia seeds, so you should be okay there. Okay, good question. I got asked if chia seeds at all impact blood thinners, if people were wondering, okay? So to keep on time, I got to keep rolling here. So then you get lunch. So again, the commonly forgotten foods is always fiber. It's always fiber. All the time I hear is, okay, where can we get more vegetables? Where can we get more vegetables? Soups is the easiest thing here, okay? And just to make sure I don't forget this. So again, if I were to make a soup, I have to look for the broth, especially if I'm going to make it from scratch. Because canned, you're not going to find anything that's low sodium for the full can. Otherwise, it's going to taste like crap. But you can make a low sodium soup. You just have to get used to it. But not saying it can't taste great, okay? But because the biggest thing is a lot of people are like, well, I don't like broth soup. I like the creamier soups. Well, you get a lot of the calories, but you still get the sodium with it too, okay? This bad boy here, all right, is a recipe for, and this right here, and this big is equivalent to 1 can of cream of chicken soup, right? You're like, okay, Jenna, you're crazy, you went off the deep end, this is gonna taste crappy, it's powdered form, like what are you talking about? Actually, if I were to do this here, okay, we are looking at 430 grams of sodium. And remember I told you the regular can is close to 2,000 per can? 4 to 2,000, okay? Right there we're cutting a lot in half. But you can do this to make it with a soup. So if you're like, okay, I don't wanna make a big, huge pot of soup, okay? The condensed soup, it works. I can just kind of thin it out with some milk, I'm good to go. You can do the same thing with that because you just add in a cup and a half or a cup and a quarter of cold water to this. You mix it up. It turns into milk instantly, doesn't it? With the instant soup or with the dried soups. But then if I just put it on a pot, okay, and just heat it, I can cook it as long as I want because there's starch in here too, okay? And that's your thickener for the soup. But I can make it very creamy or I can make it a little bit more runnier. It kind of depends I want. Throw in some frozen vegetables, throw in some rotisserie chicken. I don't have to cook the chicken. If I want, I can do some rice. I can do a canned rice like I did for today's one. It has a little more sodium, but it's easy. It's simple, right? And there's my soup. I mean, this last night before I went to bed for you guys, I think I had everything ready in 10 minutes. I did a soup. Put in a crock pot, let it simmer all night long, done. Okay? That's how simple things like this can be. Now you're like, okay, well, I don't use soup all the time. I use my cream of soups for casseroles. Add this with a little bit of water, put it in the microwave, it turns into your cream of condensed soup. Simple, right? And not as much sodium. You can do the same thing if you're like, okay, well, I use mushroom, a cream of mushroom soup. You can do the same thing, okay? So this recipe here, okay, is over here. And what I just talked about adding the vegetables, adding the shredded chicken, whatever you want to do is all right there in that soup. And it's been smelling pretty good. And a lot of people have asked me for some samples today. I said, no, you can't. This is, yes.
What about canned chicken?
Canned chicken, it might be a little bit, anything canned might be a little bit higher in the sodium, I will tell you that, so you gotta look. But I actually encourage canned chicken, especially if you're living alone. You don't go through a lot of chicken all the time, okay? And you're like, well, I don't want to have chicken until it's coming out of my ears, or I turn into a chicken myself, okay? But canned chicken, especially if you're on a time crunch, it works very well. Or if you're going to do it into, so we had, I think it was chicken salads or sandwiches today. One of the recipes, I use can of chicken all the time for that one because I won't tell the difference. It makes it that much simpler. Again, I told you I lived on a dairy farm. Time is, let's go. I like to putz when I have time to putz in the kitchen, but if I don't have time and I still want to eat the way I want to eat, I got to make sure I have some things like that in stock. That's great because if it is a storm, I have chicken. Right? Yes. It's how you prepare a food that changes the nutritional content of it. Okay? You can be great with fish. Say you're a fisherman, great job. You have a whole freezer full of fish. But if you're deep frying that fish, you might as well just be going and getting something from the store. Okay? Because you're adding a lot more of that trans fat and things. Yes?
You're talking about some of the low sodium stuff. I actually wrote to Campbell Soup and asked them why they didn't have a lower sodium. They said it wouldn't sell.
It doesn't. And I get that all the time. If you're new to the low sodium in the hospital and you just haven't been looking at your sodium and you come to the hospital and I ask you, and you might see me, and I'm like, hey, how's it been going? Excuse my language, but I got someone tell me it tastes like horse crap, but in different terms. And that's because she was on a no added salt. So she was on a 3,000 milligram sodium diet. So that looks like 1,000 milligrams per meal, okay, in terms of what we're talking about. So if you're very used to that one patient I told you who's using that salt shaker every 2 or 3 weeks and has to refill it plus on top of what she's eating, it's a huge drastic change for some people. And Americans actually in general consume close to about 4,500 milligrams of sodium a day. Okay, that's twice the amount we're supposed to, close to it. We're supposed to have about 2,300 a day, okay? And so it does change. So a lot of the things, it is a selling factor. It's still low sodium or it's lower sodium, but it's not where we want it to be yet, and that's because it isn't going to sell, okay? This is one that it's going to sell, I can guarantee you, because I'm using onion, I'm using thyme, I'm using basil to flavor it. If I were to take out the salt, because that's what everyone looks for is flavor, and I don't replace it with something else, it is going to taste like cardboard because there's nothing else there. You have to get creative with your seasonings, and those are like 98 cents if you go to Walmart. Kind of depends on where you go. Okay, they're going to be cheaper, and if you use them properly, your food's going to taste good. Mrs. Dash, they made a huge market on it. What they're doing, they're just using dry herbs. There's no salt in it, but people use it because it's something simple and quick and easy. Okay, good question there. All right, I got to keep rolling here. So then you'll say, okay, making it easy. But the one I want to get to here is going to be for dinner. So a lot of people say, okay, well, I have chicken, but how do I make it into multiple meals? Okay, one of the things I like to use, so ground meats, okay? I have a lot of my ground beef comes from my parents' farm, okay? And so it's okay, what am I going to do with it all the time? I saw this one thing where you go ahead, because we have like thousands of these. We don't have chickens anymore, but we used to have tons of these. And what are you going to do besides give it to somebody else who has chickens? You're going to throw them away. Before you throw them away, use them. This is actually pretty useful in the kitchen. Because if you ever tried making meatballs, right, it doesn't work because you have to do so many steps. I could go ahead, throw together my meat mix, roll them into a ball, put them inside these, throw this into the oven, and in about 25 minutes, no more, maybe 20 minutes, kind of depends on how large the meatball is, they're done. They're perfectly round, but the best part about it is that they're not seeping in that grease, because this absorbs the grease, okay? If you're not going to use a whole, this is what, 18 holes, so 18 meatballs. If it's just you by yourself or you and your significant other, you could easily freeze these, couldn't you? Right? And then you don't have to make them again and again and again, but you have them there already, and all you have to do is reheat them, okay? Add them to a sauce, add them to a gravy. Kind of depends on what you're going to do with them, all right? That one you can do with chicken, you can do that with pork, you can do that with turkey, you can do that with beef. Right there you have all different types of meatballs, so it doesn't have to be all beef. It could be 6, 6, and 6, okay? And then right there, all I did is change one thing around, and I got a whole different meal the whole week, okay? The other thing you can do is if you're making meatloaf. Meatloaf is my favorite, but I have a whole pan of it, right? And if it's just going to be me eating that meatloaf for me and somebody else, and I don't have that much to eat it up, I don't want to be eating meatloaf for a full week, right? So what do I do instead? I was going to say, it's going to roll on me. Bam! Anybody have one of these sitting around? Make a muffin? Oops, sorry. You could go ahead and make meatloaf in here, and plus, better yet, you don't have to wait the 45, 50 minutes for it to cook, and then kind of guess to see if it's still pink in the middle. You make it with these, okay? It's portioned out. I can have 1 or 2 of them, depending on how hungry I am. Or I can go ahead and freeze them at the end, and then I have meatloaf whenever I want meatloaf again, okay? Taking things that you're already doing and simplifying it, that's the key today, okay? So again, These are two of my favorite things I like to do. Remember these two. They're on your little quick food hacks, okay, on that last sheet of your handout, okay? You'll see there's 3 of them. And the last one, I refuse to peel potatoes, okay? And the reason why is because I told you I peeled way too many when I was little. So what do now is I actually will do 1 potato, because I don't want to wait for the oven to heat up and then just cook 2 or 3 potatoes. I'll take a damp washcloth, I'll wrap it around a potato, I'll put it in the microwave for 4 to 5 minutes, depending on the size. When it's done, it's cooked fully. You can stick a fork through, you can cut it in half, share it, eat it for yourself, whatever you want to do. Works with sweet potatoes the same way too, okay? Something simple. So to keep going here quickly, yes, beef, pork, and chicken or turkey. Side dishes, don't forget your vegetable, okay? It could be those steamable bakes, those are your best friends, okay? It could be fresh, frozen, it could be those salad kits. If you're not one to get creative with salads, but you love salad, those salad kits can go so far. You can get new ideas, you can try new things with them, they're just nice, okay? But then also try to use your fruit as your sweet tooth. Don't forget your fruit. Fruit's your friend, okay? It's got a lot of those antioxidants, all right? So these two, okay, so kind of showing my little highlights here. So you have milled flaxseed, okay, that's that flaxseed. These two are just red mill. I like this brand a lot. That's why I have them on here. Plus I had the largest words there. So then you also have the chia seeds, okay? So again, some more ideas for vegetables, all right? Okay, and then these two, some people are like, well, I love dessert. I told you I like ice cream. I've actually no one likes to go grocery shopping with me. I don't know why, but sometimes a 10-minute quick in and out turns into a half hour, 45 minutes. I don't know where it goes. I get really distracted by food. Is anybody else in the grocery store? You're supposed to. Do you know that? Marketers do that. They pull in people to make you take longer in the grocery store. You come out with 5, you went in for 1. That is the greatest strategy of marketing ever. And it's really the pictures and the advertisements and all that. But if you actually do what I do and just take and kind of look and browse, you come across new products like this, okay? I've tried both of them. I love both of them. And the reason why I like it is that they're both banana-based. They're dairy-free, okay? Not saying I'm going dairy-free at all, but they don't have all the things like an ice cream would. They're actually just fruit in an ice cream version, okay? So as you see, this one here is a banana-based ice cream with a berry blend, okay? So bananas, you can do a lot with bananas. But if you take it and you mash it down and you freeze it, it actually turns into a sweeter ice cream because bananas are sweet, okay? Throw in some fruit, they have a strawberry version, bananas and strawberries. But I also really do like popsicles, and I like my chocolate. And so that is just a banana popsicle. It's just puree banana frozen on a stick, dipped in chocolate, dipped in dark chocolate. Very refreshing. So if the grandkids come, because you know they always love ice cream, and you can't get them to eat anything, and you show your kids, hey, I got them to eat this. They're like, well, Mom, Dad, I told you not to give the kids candy or anything like that. It's not, it's fruit. Because it is, it's just banana puree, okay? So there are things like that if you take the time to look, okay? Because there's some of them sneaking in here there. Don't get discouraged or don't get fooled by some of those advertisements. Look to see what the ingredients are in it first, okay? Because that will tell you exactly what's all in it. All right?
So where'd you get that?